Good morning, students. In last class, we have studied about the disorders. We have studied the stroke volume and also the cardiac output, and also we have studied the regulation of the circulatory system, the regulation of nervous system, the regulation of cardiac, that is that is we can call that as heart rate centers. HRC means heart rate centers, how the regulating is taken place. And lastly, we have discussed the disorders such as the blood pressure. Second one is the arteriosclerosis, or otherwise you can call that as a coronary artery disease or ischemic heart disease, IHD or CAD. And we have discussed lastly, that is angiopectoris, and also the heart failures. So these are the topics where we have discussed in the last class, that is the completing of the circulatory system. Now coming to the next topic, that is elimination of the excretory products and their elimination. The excretory products, the excretory products and their elimination So here excretory products. So here what are these excretory products? So here during a cellular respiration, during a cellular respiration, here some waste material, some metabolical waste produces, some metabolical wastes are produced, such as carbon dioxide, water, and also the nitrogenous waste materials, waste materials. So during a cellular respiration, here we are producing the metabolical wastes are produced. That metabolical waste includes that is carbon dioxide, and also the water is produced. Along with the carbon dioxide and water, here we can able to produce nitrogenous waste materials are produced, such as nitrogenous waste materials such as ammonia, urea, and uric acid. So these waste materials which are present, these are called them as nitrogenous waste materials, and these are eliminated from our body. These are eliminated. Why they have to eliminated in our body? Means these are very toxic in nature. These are toxic in nature. So due to the toxic in nature, they have to eliminated from our body. So that elimination of waste materials, mainly in the form of nitrogenous waste materials from our body, that is called as this process we can call as an excretion. We can call that as an excretion. So here what is excretion means? The elimination of waste materials, that is in the form of nitrogenous waste materials, elimination of metabolical waste, that is mainly in the form of nitrogenous waste materials. So that is this process we can call as the excretion, that is elimination of metabolical waste, mainly in the form of a nitrogenous waste materials. So this process is called as an excretion. This process is called an excretion, is called as an excretion. So here nitrogenous waste materials, here nitrogenous means these elements mainly containing a nitrogen as an element. So here why they have to eliminate it in our body means if these are presenting in the body, these will become a toxic in nature. These will become a toxic. That means these are very harmful to the body. So due to the harmful nature in our body, these cannot be stored. They can be eliminated outside from our body. So that this process we can call as an excretion process. So here this is mainly taken place. That means that waste materials which are presenting that are in the form of a toxic. Toxic means these are harmful to our body. If they are stored in our body, these are very toxic in nature. So they should be eliminated from our body, our daily in life. So such process we can call as an excretion. And here based on the presence of the nitrogenous waste materials, these are classified. The excretory waste materials are classified into three types. These are classified into three types. What are the three types means? First one we can say as aminotelic organisms, and second one is called as ureotelic organism, and the third one is uricotelic organisms. So what are that aminotelic, ureotelic and uricotelic? Now we will discuss the one by one. Now based on the mode of excretion, based on mode of excretion, an excretion, these are classified into three types. These are classified into three types. So here based on the mode of excretion, that is mainly in the form of a nitrogenous waste materials like ammonia, urea, uric acid. Here these are the three main nitrogenous waste materials. Based on this nature, here these are classified into three types. One is aminotelic organisms. First one is aminotelic organisms, and the second one is ureotelic organisms, and the third one is the uricotelic organisms. So here based on the presence of their waste materials, these are classified into three types. One is aminotelic organisms, ureotelic organisms, and the last one is an uricotelic organisms. Now coming to the aminotelic organism, in these the organisms which excrete the main excretory product in the form of ammonia. The organisms which excretes, that means which excrete the organisms which excrete the main excretory product, the main excretory product, that is the main excretory product, that is main excretory product in the form of ammonia, then such type of organisms are called as the aminotelic organisms. So here in the name only indicating aminotelic, ammonia is the main and excretory waste products which is produced by the organism. So these organisms are called them as the aminotelic organisms. And also here these are formed in the liver. These are formed in the liver by the deamination of the amino acids. So here in ammonia, here these are formed in a liver, where these are presenting, that means by the deamination of amino acids. By the deamination of amino acids, it is taken. Deamination means removing one amino acid. Amino group is removed. So that the removing of amino group is deleting or removing. Due to this, that is formed in the liver. So this ammonia is produces. And also here these are highly toxic in nature. These are highly toxic. These are highly toxic when compared to the when compared to urea and uric acid. When compared to the urea and uric acid, here ammonia is a highly toxic material which is present in which is produced in our body as an waste and excretory product. So here it is revived, it having more it is a very highly toxic, and also it is a highly soluble in water. It is a highly soluble. It is a highly soluble in water. It is highly soluble in water, and also it requires 300 to 500 ml of water is required for elimination of 1 gram of ammonia. That means for 1 gram of ammonia should be eliminated in our body, means here a required 300 to 400 ml of water is required to remove the 1 gram of ammonia in our body. So it is very soluble, it is highly soluble in water, and also it requires 300 to 500 ml of water is required to eliminate 1 gram of water. And where this can be seen means it can be seen in seen in all invertebrates. It's seen in all aquatic. It can be seen all aquatic invertebrates. It can be seen in all aquatic invertebrates. It can be seen, and also the frog in the tadpole larva of the frog, tadpole larva of a frog, etc. In these we can see the mainly in the form of the ammonia as a main and excretory product. That means here the main ammonia is the main excretory product. So here these organisms are called as the aminotelic and organisms. And second one, if you see in the second one, the ureotelic organisms. In these ureotelic organisms, we can see in here, in ureotelic organisms here, the main excretory product, the main excretory product is in the form of an urea. So here organisms which excrete the main excretory product in the form of urea, such organisms are called as an ureotelic organisms. Here the main excretory product is in the form of urea, so we can call them as ureotelic organisms. And also these are formed in the liver. These are also formed in the liver, formed in a liver. These are also formed in the liver, where here it helpful for it is formed in the liver during detoxification of ammonia. During detoxification of ammonia. That means these are produced these are also formed in the liver, and from the detoxification of ammonia, here the urea is produces. So urea is also an excretory waste material. So if the organisms which excrete main excretory product in the form of urea, we can call them as an ureotelic organism. These are also formed in the liver during a detoxification of ammonia. Here when ammonia is presenting, here due to removing of ammonia, here again it is a detoxification. That means it is harmful. Ammonia is very harmful in body, so that removing a harmful, here it is converting into an urea. So when compared to the ammonia, it is less toxic than the ammonia. It is less toxic. It is less toxic than ammonia. That means when compared to the ammonia, urea is the less toxic substances present in our body. So that is acts as a waste materials present in our body. And it is when compared to the ammonia, urea is less toxic than in our body. Why means ammonia is highly toxic. When compared to the ammonia, urea is very less toxic when compared to the ammonia. And also here it is also highly soluble in water. It is also a highly soluble. It is also a highly soluble in water. Highly soluble in water. It is a highly soluble in water, and it requires it requires 50 ml of water. 300 in aminotelic will having a 300 to 500 ml of water is required. But here in these in ureotelic organisms, it requires 50 ml of 50 ml of water. 50 ml of the water is required for elimination of the urea. So when compared to the ammonia, urea is a very less toxic. Here required 300 to 500 ml of water is required, but in this ureotelic only 50 ml of water is required for the elimination of the urea, that is 1 gram of urea. That means it requires 50 ml of water for the elimination of 1 gram of urea. That means for 1 gram here required, here for 1 gram, here how much of water is required means it requires 50 ml of water is required for the elimination of water in our body. But in ammoniotelic here requires 300 to 500 ml of water is required. But in ureotelic organisms 50 ml of water is required to eliminate 1 gram of that is 1 gram of urea is eliminated. It requires 50 ml of water is required. And also here it is seen, where we can see in here means in all cartilaginous fishes. All fishes, that is all cartilaginous fishes, and also the amphibians and humans. So these are the organisms where the example is that is all cartilaginous fishes, and amphibians and humans are the main organisms which excrete the main excretory product in the form of ammonia. That is in the form of urea. So these organisms, that is in ureotelic organisms, the examples are cartilaginous fishes, amphibians, as well as including humans also excrete the main excretory product in the form of urea. So they are called them as the ureotelic organisms. When compared to the ammonia, urea is very less toxic than the ammonia. So it is required to eliminate 1 gram of urea, it requires only 50 ml of water only is required. Next, coming to the last one, that last one we can call as ureotelic organisms. Ureotelic organisms means here the main excretory product. The main excretory product is in the form of the uric acid. The mainly excretory product that is in the form of uric acid. So if the organisms which excrete the main excretory product in the form of uric acid, then such type of organisms are called as an ureotelic organisms. And also here these are also formed in the liver only. These are formed in the liver. These are formed in the liver during the metabolism of nucleic acids. Here these are also formed in liver during the metabolism of nucleic acids. So due to the metabolism of nucleic acid, here we can able to producing an uric acid is producing. So that uric acid is also, that means these three all nitrogenous waste materials are formed in the liver. Why means the liver is an organ. We know that liver is the largest organ present in our body, and also here liver is called as the metabolical factory. It is called as the metabolical factory. Why means all metabolical activities are under the control of the liver only. All the metabolical activities which are presenting, that all metabolical activities are under the control of the liver. So all these three nitrogen, that means here if any toxic substances are enters into our body that are detoxified by the a liver only. So here these are the three harmful substances which are present in our body, where they eliminated in our body in the form of nitrogenous waste materials. So here that is these are formed in the liver, these three are formed in the liver, but here that is by the deamination of amino acids, here ammonia is produced, and by the during detoxification of ammonia, here urea is produced, and by the form in the liver during the metabolism of uric acid, here it is produced an uric acid. So due to this formation of this uric acid, here it is a main excretory waste material. So if the organisms which excrete the main excretory product in the form of uric acid, so such organisms are called as uricotelic and organisms. And these are also highly soluble in water. These are also highly soluble in water, and also here required only, it requires only a 10 ml of water for 1 gram of uric acid. For 1 gram of uric acid, here required only a 10 ml of water only required to eliminate the 1 gram of the uric acid. So here these are when compared to the ammonia and urea, uric acid is less toxic than the ammonia and urea. These are less toxic. These are less toxic. Less toxic when compared to the ammonia and urea. When compared to the ammonia and urea, it is a very less toxic present in our organisms. That is, here ammonia is highly toxic, and compared to the urea is less toxic, and uric acid, it is very less toxic when compared to the ammonia and urea, where they are formed in the liver, where they are during the metabolism of nucleic acids, these are secreted. And also here it requires 10 ml of water is required to eliminate the 1 gram of uric acid. And where these are presenting means these are examples. If you see in examples for uric acid. For examples uric acid, we can see in the reptiles, the birds, and insects. In these, the main excretory product will be in the form of uric acid. So these organisms are called as uricotelic and organisms. So based on their mode of an excretion, here they mainly the organisms, that means the organisms are classified mainly excretory product. These are organisms are classified into 3 types. One is ammonotelic, ureotelic, and uricotelic. Next, coming to the next, that is the structure of kidneys or excretory organs. Now coming to the an excretory system in humans. So in humans will consist of a pair of kidneys, a pair of kidneys, and a pair of ureter, and a urinary bladder, and a urinary bladder, and also an urethra. So these are the different regions where they are present in an excretory system of humans, where it is kidneys. So here will containing a pair of kidneys are presenting, and a pair of ureters are presenting, and a pair of and a urinary bladder as well as an urethra. So here each kidney, a pair of kidneys which are presenting, they are a dark red in color. Kidney is a dark dark red color. It is a dark red color and it is a bean shaped structure. It is a bean shaped. It is a bean shaped structure where the length of the length is 11 centimeters. The length is 11 centimeters. The breadth is 6 centimeters, and width is 3 centimeters of the kidneys. That is, here the length of the kidney is 11 centimeters, breadth is 6 centimeters, and width of the kidneys are 3 centimeters in length. It is presenting, and here from these the outer surface of the kidney is made up of is concave in nature. Sorry, the outer surface is a convex, and inner surface is a concave. So outer surface is called as a convex and inner surface is a convex. From the convex here concave, from the inner surface of the concave, it arises an hilum. It arises the hilum. From the inner surface of the inner surface concave, it consists of a hilum is presenting. From hilum it arises a renal artery. Renal artery will be enters into the kidney. Renal artery enters into a kidney, and the renal vein leaves the kidney. So here the two type of blood vessels are presenting, that is veins and arteries are presenting. Renal artery will enters into the kidney, and renal vein will leaves the kidneys, where it is arising point. That point is called as the hilum or a hilus, where it is present in the inner surface of the kidney, that is called as the concave structure. So from the concave structure it consists, that is called as hilum or hilus. From the hilus it arises a renal artery, where it enters into the kidney, and a renal vein will leaves the kidneys. And also here it consists of a pair of ureters are presenting. A pair of ureters, where these ureters are helpful for the taking, that means the taking of urine into the urinary bladder. That means what is the kidney secreted the urine through the ureters that are passes into the urinary bladder, where this ureter which is presenting here, it conveys the urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. And here a urinary bladder. What is urinary bladder means? It is made up of smooth muscles. It is made up of smooth muscles, and also it is made up of a stratified and it is made up of a transitional epithelial cells. Transitional means having more than one type of cells are presenting, then we can call them as the transitional epithelials, where you are having more than one type of cells. So one type of cells, epithelial cells are presenting, we can call them as a compound. So here transitional epithelial cells, it is made up of a transitional and epithelial cells, it is made up of. And also at the end of this will having an urethra is presenting, where through the urethra it helpful for allowing of the urine into the urethral orifice. In females, these are passed, the urine is passed through the urethra in the form of urethral orifice. This means through the urethral orifice it is passes, where here that is in the females, but in males But in males, that urethra is formed in the form of a urogenital duct. It is formed in the form of urogenital duct, where here it is a combination of urine and a genital opening. So it is it is called as a urogenital duct. That means these urethra in males, this urethra is combined together to form urogenital duct, where here urine as well as the semen is produced from the same duct that is enters into the penile regions through the penis. Here it helpful for elimination of the way, that is urine as well as semen is eliminated through the at the tip of the penile region. It helpful for elimination of waste material. So here both the urine as well as the semen is produced from the same duct and passes through the ejectory duct. That means here urine is connected to the ejectory duct. Ejectory duct means releasing of semen into the ejectory duct. That means releasing of semen through the penile or penis, we can call as an ejectory duct. So here it is a combination of both, that is urine and genital, that is the sperms. Urine and sperms are produced or released from the same duct, that is through the penile regions or ejectory duct of the penis. Then it is eliminated from ejectory duct of penis. So through the penis here elimination of waste materials are taken place. So this condition we can call as in males it is called as a urogenital duct. But in females it is not be presenting. It is in the form of urethra is opened into the urethral orifice. So it here elimination of urine is separately taken place in the females, but in males only it is combined with an ejectory duct. So it is called as a urogenital duct. So that is where it can take place in an excretory system in the humans. Now coming to that is a structure of the kidney. Now we will discuss the structure of the kidney. So now coming to the structure of the kidney. So each here a pair of kidneys are presenting on either side of the pelvic region. These are presenting on either side of the pelvic region, where here the length of this will having the length is 11 centimeters and width is 3 centimeters and breadth is 6 centimeters. And also here the kidney is divided into two regions. The outer region is called as outer thin glandular region. Outer thin glandular region is called as a renal cortex. An inner extension or inner extensive striated region, we can call that as a renal medulla. So here it is made up of outer thin glandular region is called as renal cortex and inner extensive striated region is called as renal medulla. And the renal medulla will be having a notch is presenting or depression is presenting. That depression is called as a renal pelvis. That means here will arise, that means depression in a renal medulla. In a renal medulla will having a depression is consist of a depression. The depression is called as a hilum. From hilum it arises the renal pelvis. It arises from from hilum it arises a renal pelvis. This renal pelvis is attached to the ureter. This renal pelvis is attached to the ureter. So here in the renal, this consists of in renal medulla will consist of 15 to 16 pyramid-like structures are presenting. It consists of 15 to 16 pyramid-like structures are presenting. That pyramid-like structures we can call them as the renal. We can call them as renal pyramids. We can call them as renal pyramids. What are renal pyramids means? In the medulla, renal medulla, in the having 15 to 16 pyramid-like structures are presenting, where they are broad at the base. Sorry, they are broad at the base and narrow at the tip. So here we'll having from these we'll having pyramids. They are called as renal pyramids. So these pyramids will in between the pyramids will having a small structures are presenting. That small structures are called as renal papillae. So what is the function of the renal papillae means here the opening of renal papillae, at the end of renal papillae will having a pore is presenting, where here the pore is helpful for the elimination of, that means the collection of the urine from the renal papillae. It enters into the renal pelvis. From renal pelvis it enters into the ureter. From ureter it passes into the urinary bladder. So that is where here it is arises. That means the renal pyramids, renal papillae, in between renal pyramids will consist of renal papillae. These renal papillae will consist of a small slit-like spore is presenting, which helpful for the collection of urine. That collection of urine will passes from the hilum to the renal pelvis. From renal pelvis it enters into the ureter. From ureter it enters into the urinary bladder. From the urinary bladder, by opening of urethra, it is eliminated outside from the body. And also inside the renal, inside the kidneys will having a minute structures are presenting. That minute structures which are presenting, they are called as uniferous tubules. In each kidney, each kidney will consist of 1.5 millions of minute structures are presenting. That minute structures are called as uriniferous. They are called as uniferous tubules, or we can call them as the nephrons. We can call them as uniferous tubules, or otherwise we can call them as nephrons, where these uniferous tubules in each kidney will consist of 1.5 millions of minute structures. That minute structures are called as the uniferous tubules or nephrons. These nephrons are the structural and functional units of kidneys. By means these uniferous tubules is helpful for the excreting of urine, or urine excretion is taken place with the help of these nephrons, that is uniferous tubules. It gives a definite shape for the kidney, and it performs it excrete the waste materials from our body. So here these are the main functions. That means these are the main structures, where they are the structural and functional units of the kidneys, or the nephrons. So here nephrons are the structural and functional units of kidneys. These are the structural and functional units. These are the structural and functional units of kidneys. So here these we can call them as the nephrons. So in each kidney will consist of 1.5 millions of uniferous tubules or nephrons are presenting. So this is These are helpful for giving a structure for the kidney and also performs the function. What is the function means? It excretes the waste materials which are present in our body, so that they are called as the structural and functional units of a kidneys. So this is about the structure of the kidney. So in the next class we will discuss the structure of nephrons. That we will discuss it in the next class.